This is a presentation from the Heritage Builders program of the Olympia Tumwater Foundation and the City of Tumwater. We call it Talking Over Old Times. In this episode of the series, I want to highlight an important part of our past. In the 1800s, the church life of early settlers was very important, but most of the small communities couldn't afford a church building or a full-time pastor. The answer to that problem was to share a pastor in the form of the circuit-riding preacher. The Methodist Church, built debt-free in 1872 in Tumwater, became the base of operations for the circuit riders. James Biles, Nelson Barnes, and other community leaders were involved in the building of that structure that still stands today on 2nd Avenue overlooking the freeway, one of the oldest buildings in the area. The Grand Mound Circuit, as it was called, was a large one. It required a journey of about 20 miles for one appointment, either walking or on horseback. The circuit included the Bucota area, Frost Prairie, Bush Prairie, Black River, Mound Prairie, Ford's Prairie, and Tumwater. It was eventually enlarged to include Oakville. One of the pastors, W.I. Cooper, traveled 1,000 miles on horseback in just one quarter. One especially energetic pastor was Irishman John Flynn in 1881. He was noted for his wit and evangelistic fervor. Once he visited a home on the circuit and remarked to the host that this area apparently had chickens which were entirely free from disease. The host family took the hint, and at his next visit they served chicken dinner, saying, "Our chickens are beginning to die." Reverend Flynn responded, "Praise the Lord." Everybody had a good laugh and a good dinner. In 1885, perhaps the most well-remembered of the Tumwater Methodist pastors arrived to take the pulpit. He was the Reverend Ebenezer Hopkins, shown here with his wife. Pastor Hopkins remained at the Tumwater Church for many years, and one of his memories of his arrival was a story he told on himself. Let me quote him directly. "Soon after we had become settled in the parsonage, a man from out of town called and asked me if I did not want some spuds. Not knowing what they were, I told him that I guessed I did not. And he said, 'They are fine and I want to give you some.' When he took them out of the sack, I said, 'Where I came from, we call them potatoes.' Well, he laughed heartily and said, 'We call them by both names.'" Later on, the Reverend was approached with an offer to take all the firewood he could use from a designated area and was told that the bark from the fir trees and stumps made the best fuel. He was offered a spud to help him skin the bark. So Hopkins was confused by that, particularly when he was given an iron bar about 4 feet in length to do the job. It was called a spud. He told the delivery boy that he thought he was going to get a potato. After much laughter, the boy told the pastor, "In this woolly West, we have 2 kinds of spud. One we eat, and with the other we skin logs and stumps." We all make adjustments when moving to a new community, don't we?